Welcome to the Classy Counsel, Reflections for the Wise and Elegant Lady. I am Nadia, your elegance coach, and in this weekly podcast, I bring you insights on how to cultivate the attributes of a lady that is elegant and not only elevated in terms of appearance, but also on a much deeper level, spiritually elevated. You'll find cross-references made with verses from the Bible and from other sources of wisdom. Whether you are a beginner or advanced in your journey towards the most elegant version of yourself, a curious learner, or simply looking for some more elegant mindset inspiration, you are in the right place. So, grab your favorite beverage, sit back, and join me on this journey of discovery and growth. Discretion is the better part of valor, Shakespeare. Discretion is the ability to keep information or opinions secret, especially when it would be difficult to do so. It's about knowing what to say, when to say it, and most importantly, what to keep to yourself. Synonyms of discretion are tact, prudence, reserve, caution. Opposites would be indiscretion, imprudence, recklessness, indiscreet. Why do I consider discretion to be an attribute of the elegant woman? Because discretion shows self-control, and we already know that composure, self-control, composure is an attribute of the elegant woman. I think it's probably the first episode I've made was about composure. It shows her ability to manage her impulses and thoughts. It also shows that she has discernment, because you are able to analyze and filter whether or not an information is useful. It also shows respect, consideration for others' feelings, and privacy. I would definitely be trusting more and admire someone who tells me I cannot disclose more, or without even saying it, just someone who doesn't disclose anything that is part of somebody else's private life. I would admire such a person. It also shows wisdom, because that means she's understanding the power of words and the potential consequences of sharing such information. And it also shows grace. Honestly, someone who is able to show discretion towards herself or even someone else's information shows how refined and poised she is. I have a favorite line. Well, it's probably not my favorite, but one of my favorites line from the TV show Downton Abbey. It's from Hannah. If you're not familiar with the show, Anna is a maid for the aristocratic family, very loyal, very wise and sweet. And there is one episode, I can't remember which one, where she's being asked about the situation and she simply replies, "That's not my secret to tell." And I've already admired her, but after that, it doubled, because she could have just gave the information. I believe it wasn't that critical, but it was personal. And she made that conscious choice to respect that person's privacy, that person's life. And when I saw that, I wondered, how many people do I know in my entourage who would have actually said that? How many, including myself, would have just given in and gave the information because it wasn't that critical? You know, sometimes we know it's kind of a personal detail, but we think, well, it doesn't harm anyone, and yet we still share it without thinking, would that person be okay with me sharing that information about them. And so that's why I believe discretion is definitely a natural trait of the elegant. Show discretion, you are definitely elegant. Why would I recommend you to make discretion a trait of your character? What's the benefits for you? The benefits, well, I've identified 4. First of all, trust. 2nd, reputation. 3, peace of mind. And 4, strong relationship. And you know that strong relationship is something very important for me. So let's start with trust. Trust, obviously people are more likely to trust you if you keep their secrets and if they see that you are someone who keeps other people's secrets. Also for your reputation, I believe discretion is valuable for your reputation, especially as you evolve in different circles and spheres. If you are becoming an elegant woman who are looking to mingle with affluent people, know that this is one of the things they test and they verify. If they find that you are a gossiper, they will stay away from you. And you are definitely not part of any crowd if they see that their information cannot be safe with you. So just make sure that your reputation is one of someone who doesn't just share too much of their own information and also doesn't share too much of other people's information. The 3rd benefit is peace of mind. Knowing you've handled sensitive information responsibly can bring a sense of calm, peace of mind, which is something we crave nowadays, especially, I don't know about you, but I know I crave peace of mind. We never know what can happen. Sometimes, even if you never intended to, even if it isn't in your nature, if it's not your thing, you end up in other people's drama. And the best way to avoid it is to say as less as possible, or even better, nothing about other people's lives. Don't let yourself be dragged into dramas. It never ends well, and your reputation gets tainted after that. Even if you haven't done anything wrong in that particular situation or in that story, even if you haven't done anything wrong, you were not an actor. The fact that you are here passing on informations that could be critical for someone else, then you are tainting your own reputation. So what I would suggest for you is I'm going to give you more advice later, but for this, practice saying, I know nothing about it. I do not wish to speak on that matter, or that is not for me to say. Practice these type of lines. And 4th benefits would be strong relationships. And like I said, this is for me very crucial, relationships, because to me it's the key for happiness. I've talked about this in many previous episodes. The key of happiness is good connections. And there won't be good relationship without trust. Discretion makes you a woman who is selective. And other like-minded people will definitely see you as a selective person. So when I say selective in the information you choose to share about yourself, about your life, and the information you choose to disclose about other people's life. Now, how does that look like in real life? Discretion. During social interactions, knowing when to share personal information and when to keep it quiet, whether it is yours or someone else. So sometimes we would be tempted to share information just because it's entertaining or because we feel that it might help a situation for someone else. And I'm telling you this, no matter how much tempting it is, it's always best to choose to say less, to keep it for yourself. Also for professional settings, I always tell you to avoid gossiping and to maintain confidentiality. Also, one big thing is online interactions. Sometimes we feel like because it's online, it's okay. It's not the same because there's a screen between us and the world, so it's not that big of a deal. I'd say be mindful what you post and share on social media. Be mindful of the private information you share over there, because you don't only have your friends in there, you also have like kind of frenemies. One of the worst example I can give you is this situation where a couple is splitting up or arguing, and they create this huge online public fight to gain the public to be on their side, to gain sympathy. And no matter who is right or wrong in that story, for both of them, it just looks tacky and unwise. No matter how bad the relationship or even the friendship ended, because sometimes it happens also between friends, you should always show a dignified public face, a face of someone who is respectful, someone who handles private issues strictly in private, who says either nothing or very gracious statements such as, we have decided to separate. We both have still respect for each other. And I'm grateful for the good memories we have built together. Which, even if the reality is more complicated than that statement, even if it's more painful in truth, because these public fights show how emotions are taking control of you, and they are also invitations for strangers to come and add their own sauce and spin. It won't resolve anything, and it won't do anything good to your reputation, to your image. So I'm telling you, for the sake of your brand, for your own image, for your own peace of mind, do not engage in those online fights. Never. Even against trolls or any fights online. Nothing. No fight, no argument, nothing. And now, how does that look like in real life, in relationships? It looks like respecting your partner's boundaries and keeping private matters private. If we have a spouse, that means we are not sharing his little details that might be funny to us, that we want to share with our girlfriends, and it would make us laugh, but those details would be embarrassing for him. We should show consideration to our spouse the same way we show consideration to others. And this works not only for couples, but it also works for friends. So just make sure that you always say something good, something that is not embarrassing, something that you would know if the person is here wouldn't feel bad that you have been sharing these details. We all know that saying, if you don't have anything good to say, don't say anything. It's better to say less and stay silent than saying something that could be harmful. Oh, one other thing I want to add about discretion. Just want to say, being discreet as an elegant woman doesn't mean that you are fading away. It's about being selective with your words and actions, but it's definitely not about hiding your personality. Share your thoughts, share your opinions, share your experiences when appropriate, but do so with tact and consideration without invading someone else or even yours privacy. There is one inspiring woman for me who embodied discretion perfectly. She was a woman of power. Do you know who I am thinking about? She was a queen. not only with her title, but also in her behavior. And this woman was Queen Elizabeth II, a real symbol of discretion, known for her measured and thoughtful public persona. Never complain, never explain. She knew exactly how to dose between giving out some information and keeping the rest for herself. She was really perfect for that. Now, how do you cultivate discretion? Number one, you pay attention to your thoughts and words. Maybe listen more than you speak for a start. Always ask yourself about what you're about to say, about the information you're about to share. Is this useful? And if it is useful, to whom? Why do I want to share this information? Would it harm someone? Would it harm someone's reputation? Also, before speaking, think about how your words might impact others. And there's another thing to do is to set boundaries, of course. Learn to say no. Learn to say no when asked to share sensitive information. And practice the line I gave you earlier. For example, it isn't for me to say, or it's not my secret to tell. And one last thing you can try to do is to maybe observe others. If you have the chance to have someone in your corner that is a good example of what it looks like to be discreet, pay attention to how they handle themselves in social situations and copy them. Copy the way they behave, copy the way they dose and they talk about their private life and how they handle talking about someone else's life. All right, so I'm going to leave you today on this Bible verse to meditate on. It's Proverbs chapter 21, verse 23. It says, "Those who guard their mouth and their tongues keep themselves from calamity." If you like this episode, if you have any questions or suggestions, don't hesitate to leave me a comment, like, and please share. If you also like affirmation words, visit my YouTube channel, Madame Caron. You will find a video specifically on discretion in the Affirmations for the Elegant Woman playlist. For even more advices to become the best version of yourself in etiquette, in elegance, in communication, you can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, and YouTube. You will always find me there under the same name, Madame Caron. Thank you, and remember, not everything needs to be shared. See you next week for a bonus episode to wrap it all up.